Hey, welcome to the FB Premier League show. Um,
Hey,
hey.
yeah, welcome to the FB Premier League show. Another episode, another week. If you haven't checked out our last episode, please go ahead and do that. We did an in-depth review of the previous game week, and yesterday we uploaded a top. Well, I've called it FB scouting session. Who should Aston Villa sign in January? So take a look at that. But for today, we're going to preview this weekend's up and coming fixtures. We'll do some predictions, talk about each game, and then probably swear at you at the end. But who knows? You might not be that lucky. So, Matt,
Yeah, got
how
some.
for a bit of context, how did last week's predictions go? Obviously, we spoke about it in the last episode, but just as
They
a
were
catch
pretty
up.
mixed. Better than the previous week. Previous week was a pretty bad one. Um, Hang on, I've got to sneeze.
Oh God, it's gonna end the whole recording.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, pretty mixed. Better than last week. Not brilliant, but not bad. You got, let's have a look. You got 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. I got 8 points.
Yeah.
You snuck it on the bonus point for predicting the 5 goal fixture,
Yes.
which was West Ham Forest. You went 3-2, and it was 3-2, and you got the bonus.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we did all right. We got a couple of correct scores each, few correct results each, and then three or four misses. So pretty decent overall.
Yeah.
The scores are 29-37. So I'm lagging a little bit, but I'm still within reach.
Yeah. You can get there.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into this week. We've got some tasty ones. The Villa fixture is super exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I
Proper
suppose we'll start
proper
from
exciting.
first to last fixture, and
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
dig
first
into
fixture is
each one.
also a spicy one. We've got City Liverpool
Ooh, is it 12:30 kickoff?
12:30. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, this is a interesting
The
one
big
because
one.
coming off the
It is,
back of
yeah.
that draw with Chelsea, anything you feel like anything could happen, but it is City at home,
Mm.
so
So, yeah, I think that's the thing with that is that City at home and Liverpool's away record isn't great. I just had a look at it. They're definitely worse away from home.
mm.
Um,
I think a lot of teams are. To be fair, I mean,
yeah,
hard to
like quite
beat.
often with it's sort of marginal, but with Liverpool, there's a sort of clear trend of them being a little bit worse away from home. But then in these big fixtures, quite often form and stuff like that goes out the window a little bit.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, well,
so
there's
yeah,
history there, and there's a kind of narrative there.
yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, looking at the way they play, if Trent starts at right back and they start Doku, you could see things happening.
Yeah,
Just because City constantly attack down that left hand side, the right back slot is somewhere where Liverpool can look vulnerable. I think their midfield's getting swamped here. I just don't see a way that the midfield trio of any one of Endo, McAllister, Soboslai is going to essentially outplay and overpower their opposite number
yeah,
in any way. Like if Rodri's playing, I just like if Rodri plays, I just think they win. I know. Obviously, they've just drawn with Chelsea, but that game was like a one in a million nut house fixture that just pops up
yeah, yeah.
out of nowhere. So I think yeah, City will want to come back, show their dominance again. It's coming up to the time of year where they start to pick up a little bit, and then by the time we get through to March, April, they are just unstoppable. Um, so yeah, I think I'm going to predict a City win, but I haven't picked a score yet. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the home fixture for City, um, and overall they are the better team. Um, while Liverpool have been good this season, they're still sort of like their midfield is quite new. The midfield has been good, but
Mm.
it's sort of settled. Whereas City are really settled. Um, and like you say, they've signed Doku. They've got a settled system. They've signed Doku, which gives them this whole other element on the left hand side. Um, yeah, you would expect them to control the midfield. Um, Szoboszlai is in good form, which maybe if Liverpool set up right and he has a good game, maybe he could be a bit of a disruptor in the midfield and get Liverpool some chances on the transition.
Possibly.
Um, but yeah, it's hard to overlook City at home, and you would expect them to dominate the ball really.
Yeah, I think they'll approach this one a bit more conservatively because they know if they play their game perfectly, there's no one in the world that can really deal with it.
Yeah,
Um, it's just those games where they lose their heads a bit and they lose control. That's where they look a little bit vulnerable. So I think this will be
yeah,
all about showing that level-headedness, showing that they are still the dominant team over Liverpool. Because of any team to show weakness against in the last few years, you don't want it to be Liverpool because Liverpool are their
yeah,
biggest rivals. Liverpool are the biggest contenders.
yeah.
So I think it'll be quite conservative. I don't think they'll shut Liverpool out necessarily. So I think probably quite a boring 2-1 potentially.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Yeah, I don't think it won't be a rout or anything like that. Because Liverpool are a good team, and like they've got Salah in banging form. I do expect Liverpool to score.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'd go 2-1, 3-1. I don't know. I'm trying to think
I
how it
thought
would
about
actually play
3-1,
out.
but it's not pulling on my instinctive
No,
strings.
I know what you mean. I think City do tend to be in these properly big games. They do tend to go a bit more pragmatic, a bit more conservative, and just get the job done.
Yeah.
They don't tend to overrun teams in these kind of big fixtures because they're very aware of the threat of like losing the game. Um, Trying to think if there's any scenario I could see where City don't win the game, seeing if it's realistic, but can't really see it. Can't really see it. I think I'm gonna have to go. I think 2-1 City,
Oh,
but
okay,
it might have to
okay.
be.
Can I pull you up for copying, or can I just say yeah, fair enough?
You can call me out on copying if you like,
No, no, it's
whether
not.
it's legit or not.
No, it's not copying. Right, next fixture. Who have we got coming up next?
Burnley West Ham.
Burnley West Ham. Burnley are getting shat on here. I'm sorry, they are getting shat on.
Yeah, they're kind of the shittest team in the league at the moment.
Um,
It's kind of just hard to overlook that fact, really. They're just. I mean,
I'm gonna go
Burnley at home. I
three
don't
nil
know whether
West
their
Ham.
home
I
form.
think I'm gonna say my scoreline off the bat. 3-0 West Ham. I think.
Thing is, I'll give you this little bit of free information. I don't know if you've seen, but Bowen is potentially out for the game, and Antonio is definitely out.
That's
So
3-0 West Ham.
regardless,
Yeah.
3-0.
Yeah. It's in my head. It's in my heart. Now it's in my predictions.
I think I'm going to go 1-1.
I could see in the realms of possibility Burnley score, but the way Burnley play, the way West Ham play, it's literally perfect for West Ham to just tear them apart on the counter.
Yeah, the counter attack is going to be scary.
Like if Bowen's
Um,
not playing, you've got Kudus playing at least. Whether
yeah,
it's Antonio not playing or Bowen, either way, he's playing. With the size they've got in there compared to Burnley, they're going to still be a danger from set pieces. As they always are. It's I just can't see any other result. To be honest with you, I don't.
yeah, it is actually very convincing. I think if Bowen and Antonio are both out, West Ham might be less potent on the counter than they
Hmm.
would otherwise be. I can see Burnley with the way they play, controlling the ball, and West Ham will probably be happy to let them have the ball. Um, I think maybe I can see Burnley getting a goal based on the fact they're at home. They'll have a bit of momentum from that. They probably will control the ball. They'll probably create chances. Whether or not they finish them is kind of just up to what happens on the day. But I'm going to back them to get a goal, and then yeah, I could see a 2-1 or a 3-1 West Ham because they're like you said, they're set pieces. I hadn't really considered that, but I'll stick with my 1-1 because I think they'll if they've got those injury concerns, then they'll maybe struggle a little bit for goals unless it's from a set piece. So Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll stick with 1-1.
I just think Burnley have gone so many games this season without scoring. They play the same way if they can every single game. They were lucky to score against Arsenal, and
Yeah,
I just I just don't see it. I just can't see a way unless they just turn it on and everything just clicks all of a sudden against West Ham somehow, which it could. I just don't see them scoring, and I don't see them getting a result. So there's no other way I can go
fair
apart
enough.
from West Ham 3-0.
That's that.
Yeah.
Um, Luton Palace.
Ooh, this is giving me this is giving me some interesting vibes.
This is giving me a Luton victory kind of a
Is
vibe,
it?
to be honest.
Well, we've got two teams who are typically defensive sides. I wouldn't really say they're particularly counter-attacking, other than I mean, Luton have to be just because where they spend most of their time, if they attack, it's always a counter, um, and because they haven't got the quality to play it to feet necessarily through the lines, they will often go long. So they end up being a fast counter-attacking side. Uh, so I can see them scoring for sure, especially at home. But I think Crystal Palace will have just about too much, and they'll come out on top. I think I'll go 2-1 Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think it'll be a close one. Luton are coming off the back of a draw at Liverpool at home. Um, so I think maybe
And
they'll
then
have a
yeah,
bit of confidence
nearly
from that.
getting a result against United
Yeah.
ish.
Um,
Crystal Palace
Palace's
obviously
away
off.
form is actually quite good, to be fair. Like maybe playing
Yeah,
away suits Palace, but
I think
Luton,
statistically they are looking better and better as well. They're
yeah,
they're not a bad side at all. They just don't necessarily have the personnel to play a very dominant style of football. When things do click for them, they do look great. Um, it's just that doesn't happen super often, and it
no, they're a
usually
really hard
begins with
team to
Eze.
predict.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they'll concede, but because at the same time, I think Luton they're quite dicey in a way, in the sense that they are a very battle hardy, physical side that like to score from set
Yeah,
pieces. They've got a few big players in there, and they're not as good as Everton, but I see that vulnerability in Crystal Palace that was exposed by Everton probably being exposed at some point during this game by Luton as well, just not to the extent where they get a result out of it.
yeah, fair. Yeah, gone different results. Got a few different results. Could be a
Oh, what did you
disastrous
predict for
week
this
for
one?
one of us. I'm going 2-1 Luton.
Oh,
Yeah, I
oh,
think. Yeah, I don't really know why.
shades
Bit of
of
a stupid.
Bournemouth 2-0 Newcastle maybe creeping
Maybe I
into
just
your
think I
predictive.
think the home team Palace are just really really inconsistent, and I think Luton coming off the back of a good result against Liverpool and a good game against United. I can see him digging in and grinding some out.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah. So we got Newcastle Chelsea.
Oh yeah. Oh, Newcastle at home is it?
Yeah,
Okay. This is tough because they obviously beat Arsenal 1-0 at home with a depleted squad. It's now even more depleted, but then they've lost 2-0 to Bournemouth.
yeah, that was away though. They've won their last four
Mm,
away home games.
mm.
Chelsea's away record is actually really good though.
Chelsea are interesting. They're in a very
Yeah,
strange moment.
they
It's
are. They're,
like,
they're just coming into like they could just be coming into like a really good run.
well,
Um,
it's hard
and
to say they're coming into a good run just because they didn't even win the game against City. They just played out chaos, and then the Spurs one, you can't really give it to them because they were
yeah, there
playing
is
against
there is
Man U.
caveats with each of their last couple games. Um,
What was the result before the Spurs game? What was that?
they lost 2-0 to Brentford
Yeah.
at home,
So
but then they
okay.
drew with Arsenal the week before that. It's just really inconsistent, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1. I think.
1-1's a good shout. I feel like Chelsea are too much of a chaotic team for a 1-1. Seems like a boring result for a mad team. I could see them scoring a few goals. It's whether Newcastle.
Oh, you think they'll score a few?
I think they'll score a few. I,
Possibly.
I think with the kind of momentum that Chelsea have got,
What with the
uh,
one win in the last three?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it does feel like
that is momentum for Chelsea now, isn't
momentum
it?
is like a vague thing, and
It's
it's
the
got does feel
narrative
like they've got
momentum, I
momentum.
think.
Yeah, I just think with Newcastle's with their issues with their squad, I struggle to see them.
Well, I think perhaps they might have a player or two back, right? It's not everyone still out that was out
Um,
before, is
I
there?
think Isak might be back.
Isak doubtful, Wilson doubtful.
Yeah, Wilson's definitely out. Isak might be back. There is another player, maybe Botman.
Botman's not back. Target's not back. Barnes and Murphy and Anderson aren't back. This is what FOTMob predicts. I don't know for sure. I haven't seen any press conferences, but
Yeah, yeah. I think Chelsea will score. Is I'm either thinking 2-2 or like 2-3-1 Chelsea.
okay. I'll stick with my 1-1. I think Newcastle will be, as you say, they'll be solid at home in some way. I believe mostly that'll be defensively. I don't see them getting torn apart at all, especially with the crowd behind them. It's a huge stadium, incredible support, great atmosphere. I think if they get a goal, they will dig in hard for the game, but Chelsea do create chances. They play good possession football. So I can see them getting a couple chances at least and possibly sticking one away late on in the game and continuing this momentum of not losing, I guess. But yeah, I don't see
Very
a Chelsea
tricky.
win away from home at Newcastle. It's I know Bournemouth was a far-fetched result, but I don't see them making the same mistakes again. I think
I'm going to go
they'll pick things up at least.
2-1 Chelsea.
Fair enough.
You're going 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you just drop in your
Forest.
seat?
Yeah, I just kicked my
Hang on,
lever.
let me
Forest
join you.
Brighton. I'm going back up, mate.
Oh, I'm back up. Yeah, there we go. Anyway,
Yeah, Forest at home to Brighton.
um, ooh, 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 ooh. Don't know what to say. I've got another 1-1 in my head, but I don't like that. I don't want to say that.
Yeah, 1-1 was my initial thought, and then I thought I don't. It doesn't seem quite right. Although Brighton's last three results have been 1-1, so
Yeah, it's it. It's one of those things. I don't want to bet against something that's been happening over and over again, but each game has its nuances. I don't think Brighton will get another player sent off. I think it'll probably be a similar game.
you
I
know
could.
what? I am going to go 1-1.
I'm. I was going to say I might go 2-2, 2-2 or
Mm.
2-1 to Brighton.
2-1 Brighton's my other option. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll back him 2-1 Brighton.
Oof.
I'll back him to do what we couldn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good thing, but
Bit of a weird one.
yeah, there's not a lot to go into. We all know Brighton's going to be the side with the possession of the ball here. We
Yeah.
all know they're going to be the dominant team in terms of creating chances, but obviously Forest do get a lot of luck at home, and they played well
Yeah.
away at West Ham, but obviously they're a completely different side to Brighton. Um, you'd think just based on the styles, because Forest are a wannabe West Ham, that they might get something out of this one, but I don't know. I feel like at this point, 3 draws in a row, Zerbi has to change something. And
Mm.
I know that's wishful thinking, but sometimes
Yeah, I
wishes come
don't
true.
know.
So
It is intriguing how they'll approach it because, yeah, like from the outside, it seems like they've got to change something, but obviously it's easier said than done.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think it'll be a tight one. I think Forest are always solid at home. It will probably come down to whether Brighton can put it together in the final third. Really, like you say, they'll have the territory and the possession.
Yeah,
Um, but I back Forest to keep it tight at home. They generally do. So 1-1 I'm going. Um,
fair play.
Sheffield United Bournemouth, quite an interesting one.
It is. It really is. It really, really is. Sheffield United, they beat. Was it them or Luton that beat Wolves 2-1? It
They
was
beat
them.
Wolves,
Yeah, they
yeah,
beat Wolves 2-1 at home,
yeah,
which is interesting. Bournemouth, the way they want to play is a lot different to the way Wolves would like to play. They've shown they can do it at least at home against Newcastle when they do play that kind of possession-based football. I can't go too into depth on Bournemouth's tactics, to be honest. I've only ever watched their highlights, but we do know they have a Spanish manager who likes to control games. He likes to play a bit of tiki-taka.
yeah. They definitely like to to keep control of the ball.
Mm.
Um,
It's certainly a tough one. I think, again, a draw is screaming out,
I'm thinking 0-0.
but I can't back that. I'm going to go 1-0 Bournemouth.
Ooh,
Yeah.
No Cameron Archer goal.
No, I just think Bournemouth are on a high. I think they'll really, really try and continue this momentum. I think they'll almost come into this game with the confidence of a home side, and I don't think Sheffield United can really have much confidence at all. Even if it
Yeah,
is Bournemouth, just because they have lost so much and they've been so bad.
yeah, and
Just
like
like
with the style of play they've got as well, it's hard to feel confident when you don't have control of the ball.
yeah, and they're
Maybe
not a
if
particularly effective counter attacker
yeah, exactly.
inside either.
If you're a
So
solid team defensively, then you can go into games confidently, knowing you won't have the ball because you'll think we back ourselves to defend against any team, or we back ourselves to exploit the space against any team. But Sheffield United just aren't that.
yeah.
Um, so like, yeah, I do agree they're not going to go with a lot of confidence, but
What do you think? Bournemouth are maybe like an early stage Brighton.
uh, I mean that's a bit of a stretch, but I think there's definitely they're definitely trying to implement a similar kind of thing.
Yeah,
They're one of those teams that's not resigned to just getting rolled over and having to defend. They clearly do want to impose their own style on games and try and
yeah.
retain the ball when they can, but they haven't got the personnel.
I think they can build around Solanke as well.
Yeah, I mean Solanke's good. He's got like 6 goals or something this season,
Yeah,
and that's
and
like something that
they do have
Sheffield United
decent
just don't really have that.
decent talent around him, like Dango Uratara. I don't know if they still have Hamad Traore, but I think they do. I think they've got Roman Favre, they've got Justin Kluivert. There's a lot of sort of creative talent there that used to be. Well, I mean, Uatara was one of the best young wingers in the French league for a little while. Hamad Traore was a solid contributor in Serie A. So had Justin Kluivert been. He was like a Europa League, sort of Champions League kind of hopeful level talent. So they do have the personnel in there to feed Solanke. So if they can start putting things together, um, I believe they can nick a goal here at least against a poor Sheffield United
Yeah,
side. So I just back them to start picking up the odd result here and there. And this is one where, really, if you're looking to stay up this season as Bournemouth, this is the kind of side where you want to impose your style of play. You want to impose your philosophy and your beliefs about the game and show people what you've got, because it's ultimately the side most people are backing to finish bottom of the league. So yeah,
yeah, I think it's toughy. I was on fantasy looking at transfers, and I was looking at Archer and his underlying numbers, and he's got zero point 0.9 expected goal involvements in total for the
ooh,
season.
ooh,
So that's 8 starts,
I think we can save 20
uh,
mil on
one
bringing him
game
back.
off the bench. So that's 9 games, zero point 0.9 expected goal involvements in total, which is
He
shocking.
he needs to be in a possession side creating chances. Like
Yeah, he needs to be in any side that like he could be in a counter-attacking side, fine. He could be any side that just creates one chance a game would be enough. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
Doesn't get anything.
yeah, he picked the wrong club, and I think unfortunately I think that's going to reflect in his career, and I don't think we'll see Villa bring him back. Unfortunately,
No, probably not. But then, he has got 2 goals from his zero point 0.9 expected goal
he
involvements.
has,
What's that in terms of
he has.
XG? Got zero point 0.6 XG. He's got 2 goals. So I mean, maybe if he continues overperforming to that degree, then maybe
Yeah,
we'll see some.
if we see him hit 10 goals this season from just hitting like bangers outside the box and
Yeah,
unlikely
you've got to think
finishes
about it, haven't you?
with very little service, then perhaps yeah. But if things keep going the way they're going, he's set up to score
Yeah,
about 6 goals this season and not play particularly well. I
it's
don't
tough,
know.
isn't it?
I
Tough
just
to
don't know
bring
if
that
that's
back.
enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so you're going? Are you going 1-0 Bournemouth?
Yes,
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with the 0-0.
fair enough.
I think that might be the first time either of us have ever predicted 0-0.
No, I think I predicted one the other week.
Oh, you did. Fulham United.
Yeah, that was the one.
I
Nearly got that one.
mean, 0-0 is a tough one because, like, more often than not, someone scores, even if it's a deflected goal or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
clean
you're
sheets are
just
actually
waiting for
quite
two
rare.
completely shithouse teams, which that's what I did get there. But unfortunately, one of the
Yeah.
shithouses had a defender that couldn't score goals. Apparently,
Yeah. Right. Brentford Arsenal.
I thought about this earlier. I don't know why this fixture popped up into my head, but I had a Desmond in my head earlier when thinking about this fixture.
I thought I did my I did like they have like a predictions thing on Bet365 like Sky Six. My initial thought was 3-2, but I thought with Arsenal being quite solid this season, I thought maybe 2 goals is a bit ambitious for Brentford. Um,
That's a good point, but they are away from
so
home at
I
the same
think
time.
I'm going to go 3-1 or 2-1, maybe
What to
threes.
Arsenal?
Arsenal, yeah,
I'm assuming, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Arsenal aren't they're not free flowing like they were last season.
no, they're a bit more structured and solid.
Mm.
You know, if Mikel Arteta couldn't copy Guardiola anymore, I think he'd start crying. Um, yeah, no, it's a tough one to call because you've got two defensively solid sides. One's obviously a lot better in possession of the ball, but at the same time, Brentford are extremely efficient with the ball in attack. They're missing their star striker and they're still scoring goals because Mbuemo has been on fire. Um, it's just whether I can see it continuing. I definitely see them scoring.
Yeah,
I would that they are disruptors when it comes to big teams. Arsenal have been possibly not well. They haven't been great away from home against London sides so far this year, so I can back that to continue. To be honest, I'm going to go for the Desmond.
nice one.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
saw it
think that's a
against
good shout.
Spurs. We saw them draw 2-2
Drew
against
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Not that I'm predicting it purely based off that, but it just adds to my thinking.
Yeah, it's not like probably this time last season you'd probably say it would be like a dead cert for Arsenal because while this kind of game does play into Brentford's hands with the way they play, like they love exploiting teams on the counter and they're really effective at it. Arsenal seem to have more just a bit more about them last season in terms of their confidence in terms of scoring goals.
Yeah, well,
Um,
Odegaard had his role in the side that was really facilitated by Xhaka. Um, so now that that's changed a bit, he's struggled a bit and he's been
yeah,
injured. That main creative force in the team is just not there anymore. So they're having to rely on sort of what is now more typical attacking sort of styles where wingers are cutting inside and that sort of thing. I think we see a lack of out and out tens these days, or hybrid 8-10s who occupy the
yeah,
middle areas of the pitch and thread things through, and really become that interlinking playmaker. And I think having that last year and to such a high level with a great squad around him and facilitators, that really opened things up for Arsenal. But now that they have this disjointed midfield where it's, yes, you've got Declan Rice, who's a great number six, um, but then it's just not quite obvious yet how Jorginho and how Havertz really fit into that, and if Odegaard is playing, how they facilitate his job. Now, obviously, Mikel Arteta's going to have ideas on how to solve those problems and what they're going to do, because, as I usually like to say with Premier League managers, they're not stupid. They're not sat there looking at the football pitch and thinking, "Why?
Yeah,
How was he so good last year? I just don't know what to do." Like they understand, but it is a bit of a chess match. And Thomas Frank's a very good manager. I don't think Odegaard's fully fit yet, so
don't
I
know. I
can.
think he might be sort of back in contention, but maybe not start or
Yeah, so
reduced
I
minutes.
can see the quality of Arsenal getting them a couple of goals, but I don't think, from a tactical point of view, they're going to just tear Brentford apart. And Brentford are at
No,
home and efficient with the ball, which is just why I see them both scoring goals and a 2-2.
fair. Yeah, that's a good shout. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I think at the end of the day, they are the better team, and while they've not been sort of as confident in attack, they have seemed to get the job done.
Yeah,
Um, which is a sort of a bit of a vague nothingness of reason to back a team, but something about them is like they've got that pragmatism about them, and they've
yeah,
just got quality as well. So I think maybe just their quality will edge it just about. But I mean, yeah, I'll go 2-1 Arsenal. I think the draw is a good shout as well. But
fair enough, fair enough.
okay, next we've got Spurs Villa. Should we leave that to the end?
Um, no, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so yeah, Villa away at Spurs.
I've just realised the overlay and the screen is slightly uncentered. Oh wait, I wanted to select both. Sorry, off center, not uncentered. It's a bit of a weird phrase. Okay, so that's where the middle is. Right, I'm going to pretend you just asked me that question again and go, no, no, yeah, let's talk about them. What are you thinking?
Um, God, where do we start?
I think we start with Spurs' injury woes.
Yeah. Okay. So they're missing their key centre back.
Yeah, so, well, I'd say
Actually,
second key.
both their key centre backs.
They're not missing both, are they?
Romero is still suspended.
Is he?
Um, yeah, it was 3 games because it was straight red for violent conduct
Let
or
me let me look into this.
violent conduct. But yeah, Romero is definitely out.
Oh, he is. Okay, yeah, they're missing both their centre backs. Okay, that
Yeah,
changes things. Is a doggy
the doggy's back. So I
doggy's
think their
back?
back line will
Basuma's out.
be yeah.
Okay. Things are looking up. Things are looking up.
So it will be Porro at right back. It
Yeah,
will be
a
the doggy at
doggy.
left back, and then it will either be Dyer and Davis like it was in their last game, or it might be
Phillips.
um, yeah, who's a youngster who might come in because Dyer Davis didn't look great, and I don't know from what I've read, which is just pure speculation. Phillips is like he's in the conversation,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Thing is, Diaby and Watkins were looking very sharp in training today. So I don't know.
Yeah,
No, no, no. I just there's the highlights uploaded onto Villa's Instagram. Of course, they're like the best moments, but they were looking sharp.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, you've got to whatever their centre back pair is, you're going to back Diaby and Watkins because they're 2 players having good seasons, top quality players on good form.
yeah,
Um, yeah, you've got to back them to cause some problems and get a goal at least a goal or two.
yeah. They're without
Um,
Madison. Son did pick up an injury, but I don't know if he's out for the game.
I
That's the only
think that
thing.
was just a knock. I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about an injury or anything really. So
Then you've got
um,
Kulusevski, who's very hot and cold.
Yeah, he's in decent form, but he is sort of inconsistent. And then they'll probably have Brennan Johnson on the
Richarlison,
left.
Brennan Johnson, yeah,
He scored against Wolves, but apart from that, didn't really impact the
offer
game at
anything,
all.
yeah.
And then I think what might happen is that so last game they played Bissouma and Højbjerg, and Saar was at kind of in that Madison role. But I
Ooh,
think because Bissouma's out, they'll play Højbjerg, Saar midfield, and then possibly
Skip,
Lo Celso.
Lo Celso.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
think Lo Celso will
Emery
come in.
knows all about Lo Celso as well, so
Lo Celso is a quality player. I don't know
mm,
what it is about Spurs, what's happened to him at Spurs, but he starts for Argentina. Uh,
Madison.
yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, but I mean, it didn't happen under Conte either. But I think he's had a
Conte's
couple of
just a
injury
prick.
problems. I think, yeah, I think Conte is one of those managers where it's like it might have been like a work rate problem or some kind of personality
Possibly, yeah.
problem, whatever. But
But I wouldn't
either
say he
way,
comes into the squad first game and just lights up a top six contender. Um,
yeah, true. It would be a stretch to sort of assume that's going to happen.
yeah,
Um, but he is threatening. Like I think
yeah.
he,
I mean, if they
yeah,
still play with the high fullbacks without Basuma there, that midfield has to then cover for those fullbacks, right? I
yeah,
think just everything about them defensively, other than Højbjerg, says they're going to be vulnerable because
definitely,
normally with that system, they're enabling the higher fullbacks because they have very good quality centre backs, very good quality number six, and hard-working midfielders that can make up the difference. All of a sudden, you've lost those quality centre backs who are also nowhere near as good on the ball. Dyer is okay on the ball, but just they're nowhere near the level of Van der Ven and Romero. So in possession, you've got to think we'll put them under a ton of pressure, as in when they're on the ball in their own third. From a midfield perspective, you don't have that controller of play that you did in Basuma. You don't have him penetrating the lines as he normally did. Is it Sar? Sorry, or is it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He can do it to an extent, but without the support of Basuma there, I don't necessarily see him doing it too often. It's hard to predict how that's going to line up. You're probably going to see the fullbacks drop deeper unless they. I mean, Ange Ball is something that they've sort of committed to sticking to no matter what. People have said they should probably change it and be more pragmatic due to the injuries. If they stick to their guns and stick to the word that we've heard from Postecoglou, I just think they probably won't, and there'll be a ton of space for us in behind. We are top of the league for build-up attacks this year. Sorry, not build-up attacks. Fast breaks, sort of
yeah,
attacks this year. That's our specialty. We score a lot of goals from them. We've got the second highest open play XG this year in the league. It's just going to be so difficult to see us not scoring. Then when you
yeah,
look at the other end, they're missing Madison, their main creator. So you're really relying on the potential of a Lo Celso or potentially Pedro Porro getting in behind Dean, maybe,
yeah. I could see that being dangerous.
or Kulusevski to pick something out. Really, they're relying on that right hand side. And if we've got the likes of Ramsey back, well, Ramsey's training again. I don't know if he's going to
Yeah, I
play,
saw
and
that.
we've got
Yeah,
Moreno training again. Don't know if he's going to play. But if we have options on that left hand side, especially if they do manage to score in the game, it's going to be their one main sort of what do you call it, avenue of attack essentially. So if we can shut that down, I think we'll have a pretty easy day. It's maybe naive to say that, and I might regret it, but that's just what I can see.
I think, yeah, I think that's a reasonable conclusion to come to based on like what is actually out there practically. You know, they're depleted. They're missing players that are very key to their style of play. They play a very very high line. They're missing their fast centre back, and it seems like they're not willing to sort of compromise on that high line. So there will be space there. Their midfield is very depleted, and like you say, we're very good on the transition in terms of direct attacks after we win the ball back, and you've got to back Louise, McGinn, Kamara to win the midfield battle, considering they're missing Basuma, who's really key.
Even then,
Um,
I could see us winning the midfield battle because,
yeah,
like, you
um,
compare Basuma, he's doing most of the work in that midfield in terms of penetration and in terms of defensive quality. We have that in combination with all of our midfielders, and especially if you bring
Yeah, we
Ramsey on,
do. Yeah,
like any one of those four players. So well, any one of Douglas Luiz, McGinn, and Ramsey can take on a man and dribble through a midfield.
yeah. That's the thing. It's like with Spurs, it's a sort of style of play thing where they don't necessarily ever need to engage in a midfield battle because they're so good at keeping the ball. Um,
Typically, yeah. I think we'd be quite happy to let them have the ball in this one because
yeah,
we know
yeah,
they're going to have very few
yeah.
penetrative
It's kind of
passes in
making me
this game.
think of Newcastle last season when we beat them 3-0, 3-1.
Yeah, 3-0.
Where it was one of them where every time we won the ball back, they wanted to sort of dominate the ball, keep possession, press us really high. But every time we broke that press and every time we won the ball back, we were super super dangerous. We had a chance every time we won the ball.
Yeah,
Every time we broke the press, and I could maybe see a similar thing happening where they're going to want to maintain their style of play, keep pressing us high, but because of the difference in quality with their key players lacking, I think those key moments will win in those key moments, and we'll
yeah,
really exploit those spaces. Um, yeah, I think based on like the evidence, it is hard to see us not winning really, or at least see us not scoring. The thing
yeah,
with them is that we play a very high line as well. We play quite a risky offside trap, which does work very well. I saw today that we're by far the most effective offside trap in Europe. In the Premier League, we've had like 25 more offsides than the next nearest team.
yeah.
So
It's just
yeah,
hilarious watching because every time they play the ball through, it's gotten to the point where I'm almost numb to it now. I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
the
It's like you don't have that fear anymore. You're like,
yeah,
that'll be offside. It's all right.
yeah,
Um,
and almost inevitably, almost every single time they are, apart
yeah,
from that
yeah. No, so
occasional
yeah,
time, and it's almost like, oh, they've actually scored. Oh,
yeah, yeah. No, it's weird, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
hang on, VAR, come on.
yeah. It's
Um,
weird, isn't it? But
but
yeah,
yeah,
I
but
we
the
should
thing with that is
probably.
that it is high risk,
Mm,
and most teams don't have as good a finisher as Son. Like he's,
yeah.
in terms of outright finishing, he's, maybe second in the league after Haaland in terms of
Oh,
clinicalness when he gets.
he's a better finisher than Haaland.
Yeah, 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 maybe.
Absolutely. I,
So
d-
best in the league, you're saying?
uh,
Maybe
I
you
think
put
when
Kane
it
there if
comes
he
to
was still here.
yeah, I mean when it comes to pace and power players, who's got the best finishing on both feet and best technique? It's hard to see anyone else in the world even matching
Yeah,
Son's level,
yeah,
to
no,
be honest.
genuinely, yeah. He's one of them where he's
Um,
like you give him a half chance and he's getting it on target. He's causing trouble with his shooting. So
yeah,
that's the thing where like yeah, in terms of all the evidence is there saying that we've got the edge, but we don't have anyone like Son. And if he breaks that offside trap even once, there's a decent chance we're conceding.
I think he slowed down quite a bit. I think that was why he had such a down year last year, is because they were still relying on him in the same ways, and he was just starting to lose that yard of pace. It's just his legs are starting to fail him a bit because he is such a fast twitch uh, kind of athlete, where he's all about off the line kind of speed, and those sudden bursts. Typically, when players start aging, it's those that rely on pace and power that drop off quicker and sooner,
Yeah,
kind of like Bale did. And so he's having to adjust his game to suit, which is partly why. Oh, sorry, I burped. Which is partly why he's dropping into a. Well, I say dropping. He's moved into a number 9 role, kind of a false 9 role. Um, and the reason it worked so well was because Madison was opening up the opposition up so well that it
yeah, that's the
created
thing.
decent opportunities for
Um,
Son. I think in a traditional number 9 role, if you've got two more traditional wingers either side of him, they're going to find it very difficult to find him in the box. He's not got the height of a traditional number 9. He's not got the positional awareness of a poacher, and I think we saw it against Wolves when it was Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski. Son kept having to drop back and play little intricate passes for them to get through in that sort of more false 9 role, and they got lucky. I say, well, they didn't get lucky early on, but they managed to pull one out of the bag very early on in that game to score. And with Villa, when we're away from home, one of two things typically happens. We either concede within the first 5 minutes and we lose, or we don't, we hold out, we calm down, and we play the game out like we would any other
Yeah,
game, and we get a result. So I think, yeah, it really comes down to those opening few moments, and yeah, just based on the squads, the tactics, the way the teams like to play, I think you have to back Villa to come out winners. So I think I will say Villa either 2-0 or 3-1. I'm going to make my mind up while you predict yours.
yeah, tough one. I'm finding it hard to like ignore Son as a threat, but
Hmm.
like it's true that their game changes when they've not got Madison, and he barely had a sniff against Wolves. Um, they probably will. I think we'll probably allow them to keep the ball, and that gives Son even less of an opportunity, really. Um,
Yeah, at least if we can stay defensively solid. Like if when they are on the counter attack and there is space, that gives him more opportunities to create and
yeah,
to get on the end of chances. But when it's a deep block, as he's not going to be winning many aerial duels and they're going to rely on penetrating passes from the midfield to actually create chances. Like they're not going to get those from crosses
yeah.
necessarily.
I think
It's hard to predict.
I'm just gonna go with the fucking biased, optimistic.
3-1.
Um, I'm going for a 3-0.
Oh.
I'm seeing it. I
Nah,
keep
I'm saying
seeing a
2-0.
repeat
I'm
of the
saying 2-0.
Newcastle
I'm saying
game.
2-0. 2-0. 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a repeat of Newcastle. I'm just seeing it is, this is my bias is definitely influencing my thoughts here, but I'm just
Maybe. Maybe.
seeing us just winning in the transition and just getting loads of chances off and yeah, getting a bit of momentum in the game, getting that bit of confidence and yeah, without Madison, Lo Celso is a quality player and some sort of somewhat depends on how how he can perform coming out of not really playing very much. But yeah, I'm seeing a repeat of the Newcastle game. I'm seeing a 3-0.
Fair
That is
enough. Fair
optimistic.
enough.
That's a very biased opinion, but we'll see. Right, so we've got what, one left? That seems like too few. Must have two left. Oh yeah, Wolves. Wolves are playing on Monday, so we've got
Monday
Everton,
Night Football.
Man United. Everton, Man United Sunday.
Yes. Oh. 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 This is going to be so interesting because there's so many things at play here.
Yeah,
You've
this is a
got
really weird one.
Everton looking kind of good this season. Definitely a team that the way they're playing, I would probably back not to lose to United at the very least.
Yeah,
Um, but then we've got this 10-point deduction. We've got the fact they keep tripping up at home. We don't know how they're going to react to either of those things. Oh, wow, that was a lot of air in the mic. um,
I think that this kind of thing tends to galvanise a squad, if anything, especially at home. Um,
yeah, and when you've got like a floppy fish like United in front of you, it's pretty easy to run through it.
yeah, they're going to think they're there for the taking, aren't they? They're gonna
Mm.
think, fuck the Premier League, fuck the points deduction. Let's go eat Man United alive.
Do you know what? If we actually had enough viewers or subscribers to be monetized, I'd be like, what? But you are quite right. We, fuck them all. And fuck you for watching this, whoever you are. There you go. You did get sworn at, but not at the end. You got it midway through, you lucky chick. Chick? Yeah, just fuck off. Fuck off, you lucky chick. My vocabulary's gone. I've lost my head. Podcast over. But no. Everton 3-1.
3-1.
Oh, I said it. I said it, man.
Shit. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking 1-1 or I'm thinking a 2-1 Everton. I could definitely see Everton grabbing the game, but
There's one thing I don't see, and that's a United win.
no, yeah, I don't see that happening. Um, United are hard to predict because like they're like sixth in the league or something. They keep pulling out these results, just probably just because of the quality of their players. Really, they don't
Yeah.
really look cohesive and
Have they won a
convincing. But
game by more than one goal so far this year? That's what I want to
it's a good shout. It's an interesting question.
know. The answer is yes in the EFL Cup against Crystal Palace. Other than that, no. Every single game, the
Shit.
margin's been one goal. And the thing is with that, you're essentially relying on them scoring more goals than Everton. And Everton, while they have been tripping up at home, I think, as you say, this is the time to galvanise. I think with a manager
Yeah.
like Dyche in there, there's no way he's going to let any heads drop, any weakness crawl into this
No,
side.
you can't see him not scoring in this situation. Um,
And that means
with,
United have to score at least two.
yeah,
And
don't see that really.
their goal scoring
Yeah,
has probably got worse as the season's gone on, other than in the Champions League. But that's irrelevant. So,
I think yeah, 2-1, 2-1 Everton. I'm
there you
going.
go.
It's gonna be a beautiful Everton victory.
I'm
The
thinking 3
atmosphere is
1.
going to be mental.
Decore banger. Um,
Calvert Lewin, I reckon.
Braithwaite header, Carrot Lewin to finish it off in the 84th minute.
Ooh, I'm going to write that down. I'll give you 10 points for that. Um, right. So last game is Fulham Wolves on Monday.
Oh my god, you know what? If this was like 2 months ago for Wolves, this would be the most boring game in the league season where you've got
Yeah, that's what I
two
was
teams that
thinking.
can't
Like,
score a
on the
goal.
face, you're thinking, Christ, this is a crap game. But Wolves are picked it up.
When's Neto coming back?
He might be, but I saw something. Gary O'Neill's had his press conference. He didn't say anything explicit about people coming back, but he said the training over the
Neto's
international break has been positive because people are
doubtful.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Neto's
he said
down as
like we've had
doubtful.
a few important people back or something in training.
Yeah.
So
Remember, Polina's suspended. Dawson's suspended.
shit. Yeah, that changes things big time actually.
Um, I'm.
Hmm.
If either side wins, it's going to be Wolves, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you'd
If they draw,
be
it's going to
weird.
be 1-1. So the question is, do Wolves score 1 or 2 goals in this game? For me, that's what it comes down to. Do they score 1 or 2 goals? So then I just look at head to head. How many times have they scored more than one goal in away matches this season, and who have they done it against? So we go into their matches. We see away lost to Sheffield United. Away beat Bournemouth 2-1. Away scored 2 against Ipswich in the EFL Cup. That's irrelevant. Away scored 2 against Palace. Away scored 1 against Everton. So there's a mixed bag of results there. They're scoring 1 to 2 goals away from home.
I
They
think
they
He
haven't.
Chan Wang might be out.
I don't think he is. He's not in the list of injured players on FOTMob at least.
Oh, what am I on about?
But
But
yeah, so based on that, you know what? I can see a 2-1 win for West Ham, for Wolves.
it's a
To be
good shout.
honest,
I'm thinking
yeah.
I might go for a 1-0. I'm looking at Fulham's results at home, and the results across the board, they fail to score quite often.
I can just
Um,
see like Maniz or Vinicius just getting a header from a corner or like a scrappy goal.
yeah, that's kind of why I'm tempted by them not scoring is because that's the only way I can see them scoring, and when that does happen, it's often a fluke or a bit of luck. Um,
Ballon Dawson's out though, so
Obviously,
yeah, he's
no,
suspended. So that's
okay,
going to
yeah, that
be
does,
an aerial master lost.
yeah.
I mean, when it comes to defending corners, he is up there with the best.
He's a good player. He's one of them who's like because he's a bit of a shithouse and he's English and he's not very you know stylish in his
It's
play.
not very
He gets
fashionable.
no, he gets overlooked, but like he's like kind of like Tarkovsky at Everton as well. Like he's actually a very very solid defender.
He's,
He's
he's
just a
kind
fucking
of
defender,
like your
out and out defender.
millennial brother-in-law that's not really good enough to be with your sister, but he's kind of all right, so you just part with him.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah,
Does all the right, all the basics right.
yeah.
Um,
Oh God,
okay, so Dawson's out.
I'm sticking to one. I think.
Okay, I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna. Ooh, I think too. I might have to copy you again because yeah, I think with well, I was gonna go 1-0 Wolves, and then with Dawson being out, or maybe I'll just stick with the 1-0
Do you know
just
what
to
though? Do you know
be
what though?
different.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Take it back now,
Uh
y'all.
oh,
Story arc. Raul Jimenez scores his first goal of the season against Villa. First goal of his
um,
life against Villa, if you ask me. Um, then immediately after playing his old team at home, little story
yeah,
arc. Is
could be.
is he the guy that scores the goal?
No.
Could he get a hat trick and Fulham win 3-0?
Oh shit.
The answer's no. He could score and create a
No.
nice little moment for the Premier League, but yeah, that's my
Um,
prediction.
uh, I think if he was in like a better side, because like, he's obviously a good player. Like when he was at Wolves, he had that one season where he scored like 15 odd goals, got a bunch of assists, like
Yeah,
well-rounded game, scored a load of goals. Obviously a good player. He had that injury which kind of completely ruined him, really. But like, there's a good player. He saw it again, to be fair. He was kind of dangerous when they got him behind. Um, he looked pretty sharp.
I
So
don't know if they'll get him behind Wolves, though. That's the only thing.
that's the thing. That's my thinking is that if he was in a better team, maybe I'd back him to get a goal based on the fact that he scored last game, and that might give him a bit of confidence. But I just don't see Fulham really creating anything, which is my problem with that, really. Um,
Wilson, Pereira, William.
yeah, they've got threat. They've got threat. It's just that every time each of those players, it's like it's going to be a moment from them. It's going to be William scoring a banger. It's going to be Wilson scoring a banger. It's not because they're actually playing well as a team. And it's like,
Yeah,
when you're backing a player to score a banger, you're basically just flipping a coin, aren't you? It's not like I don't think Fulham are going to consistently create chances. What you actually need when you're predicting a team to score.
yeah,
They could score a random decent goal, because they have got those players capable of doing that. But it's hard to back it.
yeah. It is. It's hilarious that Fulham have three senior strikers. None of them seem to be able to score goals, and we have one
Yeah, they're all just
who
completely
just
impotent.
seems to have the ability of all three of them put together plus more.
Yeah,
Um, it's so strange because they've all been decent players in their careers as well. What is
yeah,
your
yeah. It's
prediction for
weird.
this game actually?
So I think I'm actually going to go 2-0 Wolves.
Okay, well that's
I just think
that's
they're a
our
better
list,
team
isn't
at
it?
the moment. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think they've just got much more about them. Considering the way they played against Spurs as well, they could have they left it really late, but
the
they looked good
elation
for
of
their
that
two
goal
goals.
as well. I think that like it's sometimes it's good to win late because it just picks the mood up of the
Yeah,
whole club. The
extra
fan base will
energy.
be up for it. The players will be on a high. It's all there for Wolves to take this one. I think.
Yeah, I think they'll take it. I think they'll go in confident, and they'll just be
Yeah.
better in all round.
If
I'll go
if
2-0.
I think and because we're not really going to talk about FPL today because neither of us have really looked at it. At least I haven't. I think a nice little way to end the podcast could be to just have a little look through the league and see where would teams be based on the results we've predicted. So
Interesting.
Burnley losing keeps them at the bottom of the league. Everton winning with Sheffield United losing brings them up to at least 18th. Now what who were Luton playing again? Who did we?
Palace.
Palace. I
You went
predicted.
for a
Yeah.
Palace win. I went for a Luton win.
So yeah, if Luton win, Everton stay in the bottom three. If Luton lose or draw, Everton get out of the bottom three. If Bournemouth win and Fulham lose, well, based on goal difference, depends how that plays out. Either Bournemouth leapfrog them or they go level on points. If Forest lose, and Palace win and Wolves win, Palace and Wolves will go ahead of Brentford if they draw,
Yeah, that's
um,
surprising, really, isn't it? Like you think
and ahead of
Brentford would be
Chelsea.
better for that.
Yeah, if West Ham win and Brighton win, they'll move up. If Newcastle draw, they'll drop below Brighton. Um
If Villa
if
win, mate, based on your predictions, you've got Liverpool to lose, Arsenal to draw. If Liverpool lose, draw, Villa win, we go in second league.
Yeah, we would. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it?
Take that. I
Yeah,
would take that.
that would be quite nice. We and that would put us on joint most wins and well, second most wins in the league, ahead of all those three as
Yeah.
well, which would be
Ooh.
nice. Yeah,
I'm almost hoping all your predictions come true.
yeah. Well, there we go. Um, Perhaps something in the back of my mind. There was like a little Villa fan in the back of my brain somewhere, just rewiring all my predictive powers to say Villa are gonna go second in the league this weekend.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah. Subconscious. I
Yeah,
mean, I think if our little subconscious Villa fans in our heads won out all the time, Villa would have won the league already by now. So
do you know who might be a good captain for this week? Ward-Prowse.
Well, Prowse. Yeah, well, I had it on. I actually currently have it on Bowen, but I'm just worried about his injury.
Yeah, that is the
But I think
only
a
thing.
West Ham player is a good shout, definitely.
Mm,
Um, it's a hard one. It's kind of like I think if you're going to go for a standard choice, you've got to flip a coin on whether you think Haaland or Salah is going to score in that game. Really.
I think Diaby or Bailey could be a good shout as well.
Yeah, I thought about Watkins just because exploiting that Spurs high line.
Oh, although in this one, I think because Spurs are going to be so hyper aware of not letting us through on the counter, we might see a situation where Ollie gets a bit overrun and ends up being a more of a target man pivot point to play other players in.
Well, again, that's what happened in the Newcastle game.
Yeah,
Uh, he played really central and he was quite often back to goal and he laid it off to players. He got a goal in that game on the turn, but again he had his back to goal. I'm kind of imagining a McGinn goal, to be honest. I'm imagining that situation where Watkins is laying it off to a bunch of midfielders like Dougie or McGinn running onto the edge of the box, kind of thing.
yeah. Oh, do you remember that goal we scored against Spurs last season with McGinn and Dougie combining? That pass from
Oh,
McGinn and the
how
flick from
sweet!
Dougie, it was so
Oh.
nice. It was so nice.
Yeah, well, I was going to say when we were talking about that game, how you were saying that we need to just get through the early stages and then settle and then overrun them. That's exactly what happened last year. We played them. Emery had only recently come in, I think, and there's that famous McGinn post-match quote where he's talking about we went in 0-0 at half time, and everyone was thinking they played shit, and they were like preparing for a bollocking, and then Emery was like, "Well done, absolutely perfect. Let's go out and win the second half." And Emery had basically predicted that that was exactly how the game was going to go. We just need to settle in the first half, let it be steady, and then we can beat them in the second. And I was kind of thinking, again, could be a similar situation.
Yeah.
Get through the early stages, settle, and then win it 2-0 second.
Yeah, it's a powerful strategy because what you do when you go in 0-0 at half time, unless you're like a tiny team away from home against a big team, is you unnerve the crowd. You
Yeah, yeah,
bring a sense
yeah,
of uncertainty to the game because
yeah,
when it's 0-0 in the first half, the mindset is we've still got time. Especially if you're the team on top. But then once you go into half time and you have that 15 minutes to dwell on the fact that it's 0-0 and you still haven't got ahead in the game, you then get to
yeah,
that second half and you're like, shit, we've only got 45 minutes here to do something. And the other team, because there's 45 minutes and they've been able to shut out the opposition, they're going to be well up for it. And that's when things
yeah,
start to get unnerving. So it is a powerful strategy. The only thing is, you need to be very, very aware as the away team of how you're approaching that. Because if you approach it in the wrong way, which I believe we possibly have already this season, you do end up just getting scored on early because you're in the wrong mindset.
yeah,
It's not necessarily about letting the other team do what they want. It's about keeping structure, not trying anything too risky in order to settle into the game, understand how the opposition are going to try and break you down, what their strengths are on the given day, what the mood of the game is, and then you can grow into it. It's not about, okay, first few minutes, let's not try anything, let's not do anything, let's just see what they do, because that can creep into the mindset and sort of make you a bit of a passenger at times, and you don't want that to happen because that's when we concede early away from home.
Yeah, and then the home team will always have that extra bit of momentum as well. And if you let them get the foothold early on, then it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
Which I think is what happened in the Liverpool game. We just never got our foot in the door because they got the momentum early on, and it's like stopping a massive snowball.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to have that problem against Spurs.
No, no, especially with those personnel problems. But anyway, that's like a little bit shorter of an episode for once. Nice and
Yeah, we managed to condense it for
yeah.
once.
I
Yeah.
thought we might be able to get it done within an hour for a moment, but we've run
Well,
just over.
yeah. To be fair, like in editing, like you could probably cut that last fucking conversation out. That was just a weird little extra.
Yeah, maybe I could probably cut it down to close to an hour, but I don't
Yeah,
think we'll get it under. Because I like to keep it relatively unedited, because at the end of the day, this is a conversational podcast rather than a, like
yeah,
we call it the
definitely.
Premier League show, but we're not here doing segments where we're,
Yeah,
over
yeah,
expressing ourselves for the sake of content. We're here
yeah,
to just sit, have a conversation, and talk about our opinions. So, um,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's how it goes. So yeah, if you managed to sit through this and enjoyed, and you liked being told to fuck off and called a chick, then fuck off, you chicks.